And welcome everybody to today's session. My name is Rahab Munene, and I'll be your presenter for today. And my topic is simple. It's something that we all know about and something that we've seen in people we love experiencing. And I'll be talking about diabetes. So before I get straight into the presentation, let me give you my ID. Let me let you know a little bit about myself. I am a recent graduate from the University of Nairobi, born again Christian, and I came to know about New Life through my mother because from an age of 3 years old, my mother had partnered with New Life, and it is the journey that she took for those years going forward that have brought me to this point where I'm very passionate about speaking on health matters and spreading the gospel, because I see this as the gospel of eating healthy and taking care of your health. And it's a very exciting topic because I know I've gone through challenges, also health challenges, and through the health challenges that I've gone through, I realized that the trick to any challenge you have concerning health is your diet and your lifestyle. So those are the two things we'll be talking about here. Because when we're talking about diabetes, we very well know diabetes is a lifestyle thing. So as we get into this topic of diabetes, I want you to sit down and ask yourself, how many people have you met who have challenges concerning diabetes? And we can say many of us have actually seen it mostly with the older generation, but we are going into an era now where many young people are also experiencing diabetes, and many children are being born with diabetes challenges. And it's something you cannot avoid, no matter how many times you try it. It is everywhere. Why? It is in the food we eat, it is the people we meet, it's the lifestyle we are living. Those are the things that affect us and lead to challenges like diabetes. So what is diabetes? Basically, when you talk about diabetes, we're talking about sugar. And when you talk about sugar, we're also talking about glucose, because when you take sugar, when you take any type of carbohydrates in the body, it goes to the body and it's converted into glucose. So the question is, whatever you're eating, is it going to be stored up into the body as fat? Will it be easily absorbed into the system, or will it cause an insulin resistance? So many things sugar can lead to, and one of them is actually diabetes. So this is actually a chronic disease that deals with the pancreas, because the pancreas is what regulates your sugar, the sugar absorption and sugar usage in the body because of something we call insulin. And insulin is a very important hormone. And I say this because hormones are things that you produce in your body. And when you lack a certain type of diet in your body, you realize that some hormones are not easily produced. It's a struggle for your body to produce that hormone. So when we say insulin as a hormone that regulates blood sugar, some people are born with a challenge where the insulin hormone production is very low. So they have very little insulin in their body, which means that they cannot regulate the amount of sugar that enters into the blood, which only means the person has something called, they end up getting something called diabetes. Another thing that we see in very, very many people is also that, sorry, before I continue, let me request all of us kindly to mute our microphones.
Rahab, you're muted. Rahab, you're muted.
That's it. Thank you. Food digestion starts from the mouth. So if you take any kinds of carbohydrates, from the moment it gets to the mouth, it starts getting digested. And so it starts getting digested, and in the moment it gets into the body, it is converted into glucose. Now what happens is the body does not recognize sugar, but it recognizes glucose, i.e., you get what I mean? And before it is absorbed, what happens is insulin comes to regulate the amount of blood sugar, this is the amount of sugar that gets into the blood. because we need sugar, we need the glucose, whether you like it or not. That is where your energy is going to come from. Now, if it reaches a point where your body is absorbing too much sugar, you find yourself in a state where there's so much, you have something called, it's a glycemic response, where your level blood sugars are irregular. Your body cannot be able to understand what's going on, so it starts bringing challenges to your brain. It starts bringing challenges to your stomach. So eventually these are things that keep building up on your weight also, because people who are diabetic really struggle with losing a lot of weight. So it just starts bringing a lot of challenges in your body, and eventually for some people, when the insulin is not there completely, they have to inject the insulin into their system. So I'll allow you to be patient with me. My screen is a little slow. So let us go to the next slide. But as I continue to talk about insulin,
Tap to install Zoom app, please.
there, muted. These are the different types of diabetes that we have. We have type 1 diabetes, which we know is your body lacks insulin. Basically, there's deficient insulin production. And type 1 diabetes is something that we see in actually many people. It's actually a common diabetes, especially kids who are born. They're born with such challenges. And it's actually, some people say it can be for life. Some people say it can be cured, but most people, it's for life. So this is what happens when you have type 1 diabetes, and this is the challenges that goes on in your body. As you can see, the glucose is becoming too much in the bloodstream, and in normal conditions, you can see here the sugar passes naturally, but when you have type 1 diabetes, the sugar has challenges with being transported all over the body. It's causing challenges here and there, and eventually with this uncontrollable scene that you can see, it leads to things like constant hunger, where you're constantly hungry, you're not understanding why, because of the sugar that is in the system. Then there's also weight loss. Some people will lose weight. Some people have issues with their vision. And this is the moment you start losing your vision in type 1 diabetes, it means that it's now becoming a dire problem in your body, and you really need to see a doctor urgently, because when some symptoms keep occurring, eventually your body starts, what's the word? There's a word, it starts breaking down, it starts getting tired, and all your energy is just spent on trying to recover what is being hurt. Because remember, when you're losing your vision, it's actually kind of like an injury in your body. It's something new, something that's never happened. So your body is still trying to assist in any way it can to help you there. So the other type of diabetes that we have is type 2 diabetes. And type 2 diabetes, allow my screen, sorry, the screen is low. But type 2 diabetes is actually something that we are seeing mainly with a lot of older people. And this is something that is with majority of people actually, because I'd say many people are pre-diabetic. You've heard the phrase where we are told 95% of us are pre-diabetic. We are just a couple of meals away from being diabetic, which is true, because majority of the people who get type 2 diabetes get it at an older age. Around 40 is when many people start getting type 2 diabetes. And this is something that we can see. It's when the insulin is basically starts becoming ineffective in your body, and it starts becoming useless in your body. It is not helping you in any way possible. And you see here, it says the stomach turns food into glucose. As I was saying, your digestion process starts, and then the glucose will enter into the bloodstream, and the pancreas will create insulin, which enters into the bloodstream. So basically, the pancreas creates the insulin to regulate the sugar in your body. But now the cells of the body cannot take the glucose in. So when they cannot take the glucose in, it will cause a buildup of glucose in the bloodstream. So when the absorption of the blood is very low, the absorption of the sugar is hindered, this is now where someone starts getting something like type 2 diabetes. Basically, insulin becomes useless in your body. And this is something bad. And the next type of diabetes that we have is gestational diabetes. And this is something that goes on with pregnant women only, specifically. Some of them continue having diabetes, but I know some, if you change a diet, eat a healthy diet, after giving birth, you'll realize that this diabetes cures itself at the end of the day. It's just something that usually is developed in your early pregnancy stage, but it's actually a risky thing because it can give you complications during pregnancy. A couple of women have died because of gestational diabetes. You need to realize this is actually a tricky situation for you and the baby. Possibility is your child can also get the diabetes, because remember, your blood is your child's blood. And another thing is it can be something that is for life for you. You go on with it for life. So when we talk about generally any type of diabetes, this is why I tell people, diabetes is there. So many people right now are getting diabetes. And guess what? The hospitals are flooded with children with diabetes and adults with diabetes. You see a lot of companies raising money for insulin, which is a good thing because many people need the insulin and it's expensive. But the question I ask people is, what are you doing to prevent yourself from getting into the number of people who are going through these challenges? And I always tell people, diabetes is not a hard thing to understand. The question is, what are you eating? What is on your plate? Whatever you're eating every day. Because I'll give you a story. Many people who get diabetes will always go through a very bad complication in their body. They either lose their sight, they either lose their hands, your limbs, because remember, diabetes is eating you up. By the time you're heading to the grave, you will be miserable, you'll be sad, you'll be so unhealthy, and you'll have spent most of your years sick. And being a sick person, even in your own home, is not an exciting thing. Most of your money will go to the hospital. And you can see this is what actually happens to most people. And I can tell you, I have an aunt who died because of diabetes. She was born with type 1 diabetes. And before she left, she really suffered for almost 5 to 10 years in hospital because she had so many complications. So the thing is, I always tell people, please let us try to work on this thing we call insulin resistance. Because the first step to actually realizing you're about to be diabetic is insulin resistance. A majority of us are insulin resistant without even knowing. What does that mean? Here you are, you eat food. After you eat food, your body starts making it produces something called insulin. Why? Because it needs to regulate the blood sugar. Now, your body resists the insulin. So which means the sugar that you produce gets into the body and is stored up as fat instead. Then what happens is when something is stored up as fat, the energy is not used. So you find yourself feeling a little bit tired and hungry. You're hungry, you're tired. So what do? You eat again. And that is why majority of us are just eating and eating and eating without realizing we're not eating because we're hungry. We're eating because our cells are starving the nutrients that are required. So you will get eye issues. Definitely you will get kidney challenges. That I can assure you. That is actually, you'll be going through dialysis, which is not something interesting. You will have issues with your foot, your toes. It starts from the toes. People have mental issues. Remember, diabetes will affect your brain. There are even people who've had Alzheimer's because of something called diabetes. You will have heart damage. You will have nerve disease, and you will have this arteriosclerosis where your blood vessels start thinning. And these things will eventually cause these are other healthy lifestyle challenges that are caused by diabetes. So what is it we can do to reverse this? The number one thing, and I tell you this, if you are someone who's diabetic and you're watching this, or if you're someone who does not want to be diabetic, I always tell this to people. Number one, you have to exercise. I don't care how old you are. I really don't care. Why? You can walk, you can cook, you can clean. So why can't you wake up and exercise? There's a study that was done and they say the people who actually exercise, even in their 60s, tend to live longer than people who don't exercise. Another study was done and they said a smoker who exercises will live longer than someone who does not smoke and does not exercise. What does that show you? Exercise is key in your body. So wherever you are, tafadhali, we are starting a new chapter. Monday, I hope you put 20 minutes for your time. Dedicate 20 minutes only, 30 minutes, 20 minutes. Wake up, go for a jog, work out in the house, do anything, and stop making excuses. Because you need to check your weight. You need to ensure you're in the right weight. And exercise is good for your brain, it's good for your heart, it's good for your joints, it's good for oxygen levels. It's so good for people who also have dementia, Alzheimer's, good for people who have arthritis. Like, I can keep going on and on. Exercise is good for everyone, including people who are diabetic. And as you can see, exercise will actually also increase the oxygen levels in your body, and it will also help digestion become easier in your body. Number two, you need to rest. Don't I know we're in a different, it's a tough times nowadays. You have to work, you're working your ass off to feed your family, you have to take care of your own parents who also need you, and they need your money, and sometimes you don't even have enough time to sleep or even take a vacation. But I always tell people, you're gonna work and work and work, you leave this world here, you're gonna die. We're all gonna die. But the question is, did you take care of yourself during the process, or will you die a miserable death? So please rest, sleep if you can. Do not forget your sleep. Do 6 to 8 hours in a day of sleep, and away from that, take a vacation. And that's a recommendation from Rahab. I said it. Please plan for your own vacation, whether it's alone or with your family. You need a break. And life is sweet out there. And finally, now the most important, like, this is 80% of everything. Diet. What are you eating? As you can see, food can make you or break you. And this is something we are struggling with every single day. So when I was talking about BMI, this is how you calculate your BMI. It is your weight in kilograms over your height in meters squared. Ensure you're on normal. There's no way around it. You have to be normal weight. If you're overweight, you'll start gaining complications. And if you're underweight, you'll also gain a lot of complications. So ensure your BMI is at normal weight. If you can't calculate your own BMI, please go to a hospital, they'll do that for you. Now, when you talk of diet, this is what we're saying. What is it you're supposed to eat? Number one, whole grains. Please eat your whole grains. And when I say whole, I mean your brown rice. I mean your brown ugali. I mean the healthy oats that we are getting. I mean the soy. I mean the sorghum. I mean the millet. You see, all those things that we've forgotten and only our parents are eating, and the rats and the cows and the goats and the sheep, while you are eating the refined food. But the whole grains are key because you need the nutrients to assist you in other things in your body. The nutrients are key in digestion, nutrients are key in hormonal production, in hormone production. Like, if I keep going on and on, I need you to know that if you eat the right amount of whole grains, you will not cause an insulin resistance going on in your body. Why? Because this is just enough amount of blood sugar that is being absorbed in your body. Compared to white rice and brown rice, majority of us who I know eat white rice, you'll realize that brown rice makes you fuller. White rice makes you hungrier. So what happens is, when you have a bowl of white rice, you'll have a second bowl of white rice. When you have a bowl of brown rice, you'll have one bowl of brown rice. Why? It gives you a sense of fullness. You need fiber. The fiber is key there. Another thing is the fruits and vegetables. You need to eat your fruits and vegetables, 5 to 13 servings each and every day. Boost your immunity, because you need to realize people who are diabetic have very low immunity. So they start succumbing to a lot of challenges like colds. Many people who died also during the COVID-19, some had diabetes. It's because COVID was just that one blow they needed. Sorry, I jumped there. The next thing you need is proteins. And here's a trick I'll tell you. If you're out there and you're trying to lose weight, whether you're diabetic or not, I'll tell you this: increase your protein intake. If there's anything you cannot joke about, is your proteins. This is a food you cannot miss in any of your meals. You need lots of proteins to rebuild your cells. You need lots of proteins to help in the production of the insulin. You need lots of proteins. It's good for your brain, it's good for your heart, like it's good for everything in your system. Me talking, I need proteins also. Me reading, I need proteins. So you need proteins. And when we say proteins, we mean plant proteins. Take as much plant proteins as you can and as much white meat as you can. Take your fish. If you can afford to eat fish every week, well and good. If you can afford to eat fish every day, makofi kwako, because it has omega-3s and omega-6s that you need in your system. And finally, you need to take very little fats and oils and sugars in your system. But is this how we are eating? No. Like I was saying, this is when you look at this, let me get a pointer so that you can see. Allow me to get a pointer. I want you to see what I'm talking about. Here it is. When you look at this, at my screen, here we have cereals and starch. This is what we are eating, a lot of it. We barely work out. People don't even work out. They forget working out is key in their system. And then again, you wake up and you have your Weetabix, you have your white bread, you have your cup of tea. You have no nutrients there in your system whatsoever. Then you barely have your fruits and vegetables. You only eat a banana during the day, or maybe by mistake you passed by a shop and you ate your watermelon or pineapple. You need a lot of fruits and vegetables. Then when we talk about proteins, it's a lot of milk and dairy products and a lot of animal products which are processed, not natural, processed, because the butter you're taking is not natural. The Blue Band you're taking is a lot of plastic in it. The milk you're taking has been pasteurized and added other chemicals so that it can last longer at the shop. So if I keep going on and on, all I'm saying is you're eating chemicals that are actually aggravating the challenges in your body. And finally, soda. Today, I know there's someone who's bought a soda. There's someone who went to eat a pizza with their family. There's some nice fried chicken for KFC waiting for you there. You have some cookies that you say are for the guests, but it seems like you're the guests. You're eating your donuts and your mandazis almost every morning, and yet you say you're eating healthy. No, you're not. You're not eating healthy. So there's a gap we need to fill. And this is where New Life came in. New Life came in and they said, let us give you a solution. How? Supplementation. I won't sugarcoat it because I keep listening to videos out there about health and it keeps encouraging me to eat a healthy lifestyle. And I realize this is something that has been researched for years and years by scientists who actually wanted to make a difference. And one of these scientists was Dr. Arthur Fast. Dr. Arthur Fast is one of the fathers of chemotherapy. Imagine the guy who was part of the team that came up with chemotherapy for cancer. He said prevention is better than cure. So what did he do? He said, I'd rather help people prevent these challenges than start trying to cure something that is incurable. So he joined New Life, became part of New Life by building a scientific advisory board, brought other excellent scientists who their aim is to ensure you do not end up into that trap. And they manufactured amazing products which are whole food based, meaning cellular nutrition. The moment it enters into your system, it is immediately absorbed into the cell, which means 90% of the supplement you're taking is actually utilized in the blood compared to the medications you're taking. I'm sorry, I have a vendetta with medication. So if you hear me saying a lot about that, it's because I do not like medication. Medication is chemically made, and I want you to eat food. Use food to heal you. I'm a Christian, and I'll say this in a simple sentence. God created food as medicine. All through, you've seen people in the Bible, not in one moment did you hear any point of medication, but they talked about how food is amazing and enriching to your system. Why? It's medicine. So God knew what he was doing when he made food. And that is where New Life came in. And they said, we are going to make supplements from the food that is being farmed. We are going to make supplements from the nutrients, from the fish that God created. Basically, they extracted the right amount of nutrients from each and every food that has it so that they can put it into one bottle. So there's a thing we call farm to table, and I think that's something you can go and research on Your Life. They explain to you in details how they farm the food with no GMO, no fertilizers, like God's way of farming. 100% God's way of farming, no chemicals whatsoever. And the food they farm, they extract the nutrients in the laboratories. They pick out what is key, they pick out what is necessary, and they form it into a tablet or capsule for you to take. And this is it. One of the products we have is ProVitality. And I always say, if you want to reverse your health status, maybe you're here, maybe it's not diabetes that is ailing you, but you have other issues, your body maybe is having challenges and the doctors can't even detect what it is. Buy ProVitality for yourself. Why? ProVitality has threonine, which is good for the cell. ProVitality has carotenoid, which will boost your immunity. ProVitality has multivitamins, which has numerous amounts of vitamins and minerals that you cannot manufacture but have to ingest in your system. And finally, it has omega-3. And we all know how amazing omega-3 is, especially for people who actually, omega-3 is good for everyone. A child, an adult, or a person who's maybe aged, like a golden ager, someone who's 60 years and above. And these are the products we have for people who are diabetic. I think I'll go through them briefly. Allow my screen. I want you to see the pictures, so forgive me for this slow screen. Okay, the first product we have is fiber. I say fiber is amazing. Why? Fiber will help reduce the speed at which the refined carbohydrates, the ones which are white rice and chapati that we're talking about, are absorbed into the bloodstream as sugar. So this allows the pancreas to regulate the amount of sugar in your bloodstream effectively. Another thing that fiber does is it gives you a sense of satiety. And many people who are diabetic really struggle with the sense of fullness in their system. Basically, when they eat food, they still feel like they're hungry. And what fiber does, it has fibers that get absorbed into the system they absorb water so that it can give you a sense of fullness in your body so that you don't start feeling hungry after you've just had a meal. Because I'm telling you, fiber will help, reverse insulin resistance. Remember, we talked about insulin resistance, and I can just emphasize and tell you, insulin resistance is the first step you're taking into being diabetic. So everyone here needs to buy themselves fiber. It will help reverse that. It will help regulate your, reduce the rate at which the carbohydrates are being absorbed, i.e. the sugar, into the bloodstream. It will give you a sense of satiety. It will also help a lot in digestion. Now, the next thing you also need to do is CoQ10. CoQ10 is very good for the heart, especially people who are 50 years and above. They need CoQ10, especially if they're diabetic. Remember, their body is struggling a lot with the manufacturing of blood cells. Their body is struggling a lot to pump blood. And so they need CoQ10 so that they can improve the energy that they have in the system from the cell. CoQ10 is very good for the heart health. CoQ10 works into the cell, like every individual cell will be energized by having your CoQ10. The next one we have is zinc. Zinc is very, very good for healing in any sorts of the body. So if there's a wound that has been caused because of diabetes, remember we say diabetes can eat your own leg up. Literally, it will eat it up until the doctor says, you just have to amputate. If you don't amputate, it will keep eating you up. So zinc comes and helps in soothing and healing that wound that you have. So zinc is very good. Remember, during COVID, we were told to buy zinc because zinc is actually a powerful, I think it's a mineral, I'm not sure, that is key in your system. And guess what? It's in minimal amounts in your food. I can tell you the amount of zinc you need in your system, we do not reach it each and every day. It's so minimal because we spend most of the zinc in your system because whether you like it or not, you have a wound in your system, you have you're a man and you need zinc, the body is gonna use it. If you have a cold, you need zinc, your body is gonna use it. So the levels at which your zinc are very low. So you can get a zinc if you have a wound. If you're diabetic, it will really help in soothing any pains you have by healing it. And now the ultimate product for diabetic people, which I tell you, if you know anyone who's diabetic, don't even let them say much. Just tell them to buy this without thinking twice, and they will come and thank you after. Botanical Balance. This is an amazing product that was carefully thought through by the scientists before it came into the market. And they did their research and they realized, you know what? Just the spices that people use, curcumin, cinnamon, turmeric, are the ones that have been used to manufacture Botanical Balance. And why is this one specifically the best? Because they have removed the necessary nutrients in this curcumin, in this cinnamon, and this turmeric to formulate a product that can help regulate your glucose, can help regulate your sugar levels, can really help ensure that your insulin is is manufactured. You know, some people don't have enough insulin, as we said, and it will also help the insulin to be well used up in the body, which is to regulate the sugar. So this is a good product, the best actually for anyone who's diabetic. We've had so many testimonies of people who've used Botanical Balance and they've come and said it has really helped. But I can tell you this, if you're diabetic, you do not use it for 1 month. It's not a miracle working magic process. Remember, it took years for you to get diabetes. So it may take also a while for you to get rid of the issue for a while. So if you can just be consistent with Botanical, take it for every single month for as long as you can or as long as you can afford. Trust me, you'll be smiling and feeling better. And this product will re-energize you 100%. It will re-energize you and reverse a lot of conditions that are being added into your system because of diabetes. The next program we have is weight management. And if you're diabetic and you have weight, you've added weight, you're overweight or you're obese, you need to lose weight. There's no way around it. You want to live long and happy, work on your weight. I'm not going to sugarcoat it. So buy yourself a New Life Shake. It will really help in losing weight. One thing I like about New Life Shake is it also really helps people who are diabetic by regulating their sugar levels. Basically, there's this something we call glycemic response. And glycemic response is it's regulating the way your sugar levels rise and drop in the system. So have your New Life Shake. It's an amazing protein shake, very sweet, comes in 3 flavors. And the moment you take it, you will be able to manage your weight. It has proteins in plenty. Like I said, you need proteins whether you like it or not. So it will really help you lose weight. It will really help you manage your sugar levels. It will also reduce your cravings and your hunger. Like the people who get hungry a lot. Your Life Tea will energize you as you're working out. It will energize you throughout the day. Instead of taking a cup of coffee, which is not good for you, take New Life Tea. It will give you energy throughout the day. And maybe as I close up, I can say, even as you're buying the supplements, if your diet is terrible, there's nothing you're doing but just like maintaining it at that level, the same level you're at. So if you really want to make a difference with your health, it starts from you mentally. You need to make a decision that you're changing the things you cook in the house. You're no longer going to buy a lot of processed food from the supermarket. Because nowadays, people think when you say, ukifanya shopping ya 10K, yenye imeja just nonsense in the shopping carts. Because I see that with so many people, and people swipe cards of shopping worth 10K of foods that are killing them instead of healing them. So please invest in food that will heal you, not kill you. Whatever that is not even food. It's dead. It's dead things you're eating. So start with your diet. Then supplement, and you will see a big difference in your life. And I can attest to you, I take TNN every single day of my life. I'll give you a short testimony of right now. I'm taking my TNN and I work out, and TNN is making a difference in my body. The fatigue I used to feel, imeisha. The going to the toilet, my body is detoxifying itself in a very good way. So it's a very good detox process. The hunger, I used to be so hungry. I used to eat 4 meals in a day. Eating 4 meals in a day is not a joke. I'm telling you. So wherever you are, start supplementing and start eating healthy. So just to close up, I'll say I don't think there's any much I should add, but I can say this: talk to the person who invited you. If you have any challenge whatsoever, they will give you a much detailed health talk on what you need to eat. They can even make a meal plan for you so that you can help reverse the challenge you have. And finally, they will recommend the right supplements for you. Another thing is, please work, because you can be a member of this company we call In Your Life. Everyone is invited. I always say I joined when I was young. I was fresh out of high school, joined, didn't know nothing, anything much, but here I am educating people about health, because in your life, we thrive in educating you about health. So if you're a guest here, tafadhali, talk to the person who invited you. See how you can also be a member. It's not always about helping yourself. There's so many people out there who need your help. So how can you help them? When someone tells they have eyesight, they're losing their eyesight, they're forgetting, their baby has autism, what can you do to help help them? Isipokuwa kuomba, offer them supplements. And I'll tell you this, these supplements are so good. I have so many testimonies, I can't even mention all of them here. But I tell you, don't puuza. The moment you've had this message, next week, if you're diabetic, please get your botanical and your fiber. If you can't afford any other products, get botanical and fiber. But because this is the last screen, I just wanted to leave it there so you guys can see other solutions